T-minus 72 hours. Satellite imagery confirms the movement. 87 vessels of the People's Liberation Army Navy form up in staging areas along the southeastern Chinese coast. The largest amphibious force assembled in modern history begins final preparations. Every intelligence agency on the planet watches the same data streams. Every command center runs the same calculations. The window for peaceful resolution closes with each passing hour. This is Global Conflict Room, where global war decisions are made. 06:22 a.m. Taipei time. Taiwan's Ministry of Defense elevates alert status to DEFCON equivalent 2. Reserve units receive mobilization orders. Air defense batteries power up across the island. F-16 squadrons scramble to combat air patrol positions. The U.S. 7th Fleet repositions assets toward the Philippine Sea. 2 carrier strike groups accelerate to intercept positions. Japan's self-defense forces activate crisis protocols. South Korea places border units on enhanced readiness. The Indo-Pacific command structure shifts from monitoring to active defense posture in less than 90 minutes. 11:47 a.m. local time. Chinese state media broadcasts a 30-second announcement. Maritime exclusion zones declared around Taiwan. All civilian air traffic rerouted. International shipping warned to clear designated areas within 6 hours. The announcement contains no explicit threat. The implication carries the weight of inevitability. Analysts at Global Conflict Room assess the messaging as final diplomatic cover before kinetic action. What should command do first? A. Intercept. B. Strike back. C. Hold fire. The decision matrix contains no good options. Interception risks early engagement. Striking back guarantees escalation. Holding fire cedes initiative to the aggressor. Theater commanders compile response packages. Each option branches into dozens of potential outcomes. War game simulations run continuously in command centers across 3 continents. The models show no clear path to de-escalation once the first shot is fired. 18:33 p.m. Washington time. The White House Situation Room convenes an emergency session. Joint Chiefs present 3 courses of action. Option 1. Demonstrate resolve through forward deployment without engagement. Option 2. Conduct freedom of navigation operations directly through exclusion zones. Option 3. Pre-position strike assets and issue ultimatum for Chinese withdrawal. The President has 40 minutes to decide before the next scheduled communication with Beijing. Each option carries catastrophic risk. Demonstration might appear weak, inviting aggression. Direct challenge could trigger immediate combat. Ultimatum boxes both sides into positions with no retreat. What happens next determines the next decade. Intelligence updates stream into decision-making centers every 8 minutes. Reconnaissance satellites track vessel movements with meter-level precision. Electronic warfare aircraft monitor communications across military frequencies. Submarine tracking shows multiple Type 093 attack boats moving to forward positions. Surface action groups form protective screens around amphibious elements. The Chinese deployment follows established doctrine for large-scale amphibious assault with disturbing precision. T-minus 48 hours. 02:15 a.m. Taipei time. Taiwan's military command initiates pre-planned defensive measures. Coastal defense missile batteries relocate to alternate positions. Harpoon and Xiongfeng anti-ship missiles achieve firing readiness. Mine-laying vessels begin operations in designated approach channels. Combat engineers prepare infrastructure demolition charges at potential landing sites. The island transforms into a fortress while maintaining the appearance of routine operations. International observers note the preparations without public comment. 07:40 a.m. Tokyo time. Japan's cabinet convenes emergency session. The government faces constitutional questions about collective self-defense. U.S.-Japan security treaty obligations conflict with domestic legal constraints. The Prime Minister authorizes self-defense forces to provide rear area support and logistics. F-35 squadrons increase readiness status. Aegis destroyers move to positions covering northern approaches to Taiwan. The decision stops short of combat authorization, but signals alignment with U.S. defense posture. South Korea issues similar measured responses, balancing alliance commitments against proximity to Chinese power projection. 14:22 p.m. Beijing time. People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater Command issues operational directive. Amphibious Task Force receives movement orders. 87 vessels begin synchronized departure from staging areas. The formation moves at sustained speed toward Taiwan Strait approaches. Air cover provided by J-20 stealth fighters and J-16 multi-role aircraft. Long-range bombers conduct apparent patrol missions along the first island chain. Satellite reconnaissance tracks the entire movement in real time. Global conflict room analysts assess point of no return, approaching within 18 hours. Necessary deterrence or dangerous escalation. The question divides strategic communities worldwide. Deterrence theorists argue that demonstrating capability prevents conflict by raising costs of aggression. Critics warn that massive force deployment creates pressure for action to justify political and economic investment. Historical parallels prove inconclusive. Every previous Taiwan Strait crisis de-escalated before reaching current force levels. Modern sensor networks and precision weapons change calculation frameworks that governed Cold War brinkmanship. The unprecedented nature of the deployment leaves commanders operating without reliable historical models for U.S. Pacific Command executes pre-authorized response plan. USS Ronald Reagan and USS Carl Vinson carrier groups establish positions in Philippine Sea. Nuclear attack submarines move to choke point coverage. B-52 bombers deploy to Guam with full strike packages. The deployment demonstrates capability without entering Chinese declared exclusion zones. Beijing receives diplomatic communication outlining U.S. defense commitments to Taiwan and regional allies. The message calibrates tone to convey determination without issuing ultimatum that would eliminate negotiation space. 0344 Air Taipei time. Taiwan's leadership addresses the nation. The president announces full military mobilization. Reserves report to designated assembly areas. Civil defense measures activate across major cities. Emergency services prepare mass casualty protocols. The speech emphasizes defensive posture and calls for international support. Stock markets across Asia suspend trading. Global shipping reroutes away from Western Pacific lanes. Oil prices spike 17% in early trading. The economic shockwaves precede any actual combat by 36 hours, demonstrating the systemic fragility of the modern interconnected global economy. Which system activates first in a missile alert? A. Radar. B. Satellites. C. Command link. The correct answer reveals the layered nature of modern early warning architecture. Satellites detect launch thermal signatures first, providing initial alert. Ground-based radar tracks trajectory and confirms threat parameters. Command links transmit data and authorization for response measures. The system operates on compressed timelines measured in seconds. Human decision-makers receive automated recommendations based on threat assessment algorithms. The balance between speed and judgment defines modern strategic stability. 09:17 a.m. Beijing time. Chinese Foreign Ministry issues statement. The communication describes ongoing operations as sovereignty protection and reunification measures. International interference characterized as violation of Chinese territorial integrity. The statement warns of severe consequences for foreign military intervention. Diplomatic language maintains ambiguity about threshold for actual combat operations. U.S. intelligence assesses the statement as final warning before kinetic phase begins. Global conflict room tracks parallel developments across multiple theaters. Russian military forces conduct unscheduled exercises in Eastern Military District. North Korean state media amplifies Chinese messaging. Iranian naval forces increase activity in Persian Gulf. The coordinated timing suggests pre-planned effort to divide U.S. attention and resources across multiple potential crisis zones simultaneously. T-minus 24 hours. 16:55 p.m. Taiwan Strait. Chinese amphibious task force reaches assembly area 200 kilometers from Taiwan's western coast. The formation maintains defensive posture while completing final pre-assault preparations. Combat Air Patrol establishes continuous coverage overhead. Electronic warfare systems activate, creating interference across communication frequencies. U.S. reconnaissance detects final preparations consistent with imminent assault operations. Theater commanders brief national leadership on critical decision window. Launch authorization for defensive strikes must occur within hours to achieve tactical effectiveness. Waiting for attack to begin cedes initiative and exposes Taiwanese forces to devastating first strike. Attacking preemptively guarantees full-scale war without diplomatic resolution opportunity. The decision sits with civilian leadership in Taipei, Washington, and allied capitals. 23:30 p.m. Washington time. Secure video conference connects Washington, Taipei, Tokyo, and Canberra. Allied leaders conduct final consultation before potential combat operations begin. Taiwan's president requests clear statement of U.S. defense commitment. The American president confirms treaty obligations while emphasizing preference for diplomatic resolution. Japanese and Australian leaders pledge support within constitutional and political constraints. The conversation reveals underlying tensions between abstract security commitments and concrete willingness to engage in major theater war with nuclear-armed opponent. No formal declaration emerges from the consultation. Each nation maintains operational flexibility while coordinating defensive measures. If you follow global conflict analysis, type GCR, Shore Erzogaurs, AM, Taipei time. T-minus 12 hours by military intelligence estimate. Taiwan's military command receives authorization for defensive engagement rules. Forces granted authority to fire on hostile targets entering territorial waters or airspace. The authorization stops short of preemptive strike, but eliminates requirement for additional approval once attack begins. Coastal defense missiles lock targeting solutions on approaching naval formations. Fighter squadrons maintain continuous alert status. Ground forces complete defensive preparations at likely landing zones. The island achieves maximum defensive readiness while maintaining official posture of non-aggression. 08:45 a.m. Beijing time. People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater Command issues final operational order. Amphibious task force begins movement toward Taiwan waters. The crossing time calculated at 8 hours under current sea conditions. Air superiority operations scheduled to begin 90 minutes before amphibious forces enter engagement range. Missile strikes targeting Taiwan's air defense network and command infrastructure timed to coincide with air operations. The attack plan follows established doctrine for complex multi-domain operations. U.S. and allied forces track every element of the developing assault. Global Conflict Room monitors the final countdown. Carrier strike groups receive authorization to engage Chinese forces threatening Taiwan. Submarines move to firing positions along anticipated approach routes. B-52 bombers arm cruise missiles for strikes on amphibious formations. The response framework depends entirely on whether Chinese forces initiate combat operations or halt at the final decision point. 12 hours remain before the largest military operation since World War II either begins or steps back from the brink. Was escalation avoidable? Who bears responsibility for decisions that brought the region to the edge of catastrophic conflict? Could different diplomatic approaches in preceding months have prevented the crisis from reaching critical phase? What decision would you make in that room? The Taiwan crisis scenario demonstrates how compressed decision timelines and massive force deployments create conditions where miscalculation or accident can trigger irreversible escalation. Military commanders operate under rules of engagement that balance defensive necessity against escalation risk. Political leaders face decisions with incomplete information and catastrophic consequences for any choice. The scenario shows that modern great power conflict begins long before the first shot, with surveillance, positioning, and authorization decisions that constrain options for de-escalation. Subscribe to Global Conflict Room, inside the room where history changes.